So I'm going to start out with the hair. And I'm starting out with some nice, oh gosh.
How'd you pick your colors?
I got butter. I've got cool colors and warm colors I'm working with. So in the cool areas, I will have blues and greens, and in the warm areas, I will have reds and yellows and
How'd you
oranges.
pick the cool and the warm areas?
You're going to find out.
So she's doing this one.
Oh, you're just.
Yes.
I thought you were just making it up. Sorry, I didn't know.
No. I've got my model. Now I've taken some paint off my brush because I'm going into this. In fact, you know what? I'm going to warm it up a little. Look at that. That's going to give me some green. In fact, I'm really going to warm that up. Let me get all that. Oh yeah, this is going to be a nice bright green. Right like that. There we go. In fact, I could get some green in here. And I can even go to a little bit of yellow. Because
it's light over there.
The hair's light. Yeah, look, that's where I'm going. There. Beautiful. Okay, now I'm going to go into a little bit of violet and a little bit of phthalo or phthalo, however it's pronounced. And I'm going to go back to some green. Just a little bit. And that is mixing. It's getting dirty with the violet, but that's okay. That's beautiful. I love this. Pray that it continues to go this well. Okay. And I'm trying to refrain not to use too many colors. You know what? I'm going to take a little bit. I've got some butter. This is yellow ochre.
Chart.
I'm going to throw in some highlights. Now that was too much, but it's still wet. I can kind of blend that a little bit. In fact, I think I'm going to come down and just come down this way and do yellow ochre. And then back to some. What happens with the yellow and the ochre? Yeah, that looks good. And then I think I'm going to go back to a little bit of violet there. Now, before this is dry, it's a cast shadow, so let me pull some of that down. But I do want a little bit of a hairline showing there. I don't want, otherwise it's going to look like his hairline's way down there. And now I'm going to switch to blue, kind of going around the color wheel. So violet, I'm going backwards, counterclockwise around the color wheel. And I've got a key. Now this side of the face is very light, so now I've got a lot of water on my brush.
So you're doing this a la prima? You're just going to do the... Because this is the tea right now, right? Or are you gonna...
I'm going to do this a la prima.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so now I want some... I'm going to generally, I mean, I started out pretty dark with the hair, but I'm going to go generally from light to dark. Oops, I didn't want that. Although, kind of looks cool, doesn't it? So, I guess that comes under the category of happy accident, a word I don't like, but that's okay. It was something I was not planning on, but works, so let's take advantage of it. Okay. I'm going to keep the entire eye socket pretty darn cool, and I'm starting out light to begin with, and I'll start bringing out the features. Now I can go a little bit dark and get that eye in there. That's just going to blend. I'm going to let that do a little blending there. Go right into the eye socket. And since I'm using, well, now, no, the other eye I want to keep warm. So let's take off that phthalo. I'm going to get a little bit of yellow. Oops, I still got the phthalo. It takes a long time to get phthalo off your brush. There, now I'm back to pure yellow. And I'm going to mix some opera. That's one of my favorite colors. But it's got to be very light, very tea-like, because there's not a lot of dark value. It's getting just a lot of sun. In fact, I'm going to go, there we go. And let's put a little yellow here. See, that's going to mix and become green. So all this is very light. It doesn't look like much yet, but it will later on in the painting, once I get the darks in there. Let me take a little bit of violet. And let's take some of this color here. I am going to pull off some paint with a dry, thirsty brush because I don't want that to go into there. And sometimes you just have to keep at it because it will keep moving. There we go. Okay, and then, you know what? I'm not going to do the alla prima thing because I'm getting exhausted. But I'm not quite there yet. Let's keep going a little bit further. But I am planning on stopping because if I keep going, I'm going to get tired. I'm going to start making mistakes. But I do want to work around the nose. So back to blue, maybe a little bit of violet. There. And I want that to be, oh, now see, this is kind of dirty. And that's exactly what I want. You get too many bright colors, and it just gets to be too much. Pull some of this out. Okay, and then I'm going to clean my palette. Now I do want to go to some green. So just a little bit of phthalo goes a long, long ways. So as I come out, it's going to get just a little bit lighter. There we go. There. Now I want to cool it down. So while it's still wet, I've dipped my brush into some cobalt blue. There we go. So I have a nice segue back into my darker colors. And now I have a clean brush again because I want to just take the water and some of that darker color will follow, and I'll go into this side of the face that's getting a lot of reflected light. And I don't like borders, so I'll bring some of that color right down into the neck that's being protected from the direct light. And as we come out to the light, I'll get some of my light green and then go from light green to a little bit of my opera in yellow to give kind of a pinkish orange look. Very subtle, very light, very tea-like. And I'll do it over here. And I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to let that dry, and then we'll see where I go from there.
So we should go this far?
Yes.
It looks like a peacock. It's on.
Okay, and now I want to do the eyebrows. Then it's going to get lighter here, where the hairs are not as condensed. And then a little bit darker. I'm going to make sure I'm in the right spot. Okay, I'm going to deepen the shadow in the socket. That eye will disappear right into it. There we go. And I'll add a little bit of yellow and we'll let it mix with the turquoise. I think that'll work. Okay, now we'll go to the other eye. Let's take a little bit of orange and red. Darken that up just a little bit. And then this is the shadow underneath that's being cast by his upper lid. And I want to take just a little bit of phthalo butter, make this a little bit darker. Yeah. And I want a touch of, oops, didn't get the phthalo off. Doesn't go away. In fact, I'm going to get some butter. I want to get that really yellow. There. Look at that. See how that glows? Okay, now the mouth. And his lip comes up like this. Okay. Then let's get some warmth in his lips. I gotta be careful. I probably should wait for that to dry, but I'm gonna try and get in there and do it anyway. A little bit of yellow. I'm going to get that nice yellow in there. It's just there. I might do it. And I'll come back and darken that later. I want to work on his chin. This has got to go up a little, take some of that paint off, and then come back with some nice light but warm color. Let me go right to yellow. Yeah, that looks good. And I'll go over this cast shadow on his mouth because that's going to get darker later on anyway. See, I can put another wash over the side of the face. Look at this, I'm getting this nice and worn.
At this point, you're painting color rather than value.
No, I'm painting value and color. No, I'm making real sure that I'm not getting too dark in areas that are really light.
Mm-hmm. So this would be milk. You're painting milk.
This is milk, anywhere between milk and tea. Okay, now I want to get it just a little bit darker, a little more dramatic right here. Let's take some of that blue and put it in here. Okay, now I have just a wet brush. And I'll pull some of that out. Get this just a little bit darker. And I like to distribute my colors, so I'm taking a little bit of yellow green. And I'll put it in here. So that, by having yellow here and yellow, and it's a little bit more on the green side, I'm unifying my colors. Let's take some violet. A little blue. I hope I didn't. Let's add some yellow in there. There is a good value contrast between, at the jawline. Now let's get in the nostrils. What do I want for that? I think I want some phthalo blue and a little bit of this violet, and it's definitely creamy. Ooh. More yellow there. And this comes down and goes right into and underneath the nose. So I'm going to darken this shadow some more. See how that's getting it? I'm building up the color contrast. Yeah. But as it heads towards the mouth, it comes out, the shadow's coming out into the sunlight again. Maybe I could add just a little bit of... That was definitely butter. Mm-hmm. There we go. I'm going to do another wash over that blue. Let's take a little of this color and do some background. I don't want it quite that dark. There we go. And I'll add a little bit of my favorite opera. And I don't want it too dark. So now I just have water. Get some more opera, let this mix on the paper.
That looks great.
So that really
That's sweet. I like that.
builds up the drama, doesn't it?
Yeah. Look at all the colors you've got in there too.
It's like Rigoletto.
Nice.
Rigoletto.
What blue was that?
Opera. They is the blue.
You have totally got the knack for that.
You can probably make some money at that, huh?
I know, huh?
Yeah.
Now, I'm wicking out water from the brush because I want to be able to separate the upper and lower lip. Let's see how this works. So I want to get that eye a little darker. Whoops, so we got to watch out. I think this is a Quinn color. It's a cool red. See, that's starting to do the trick. In fact, what if I take a little bit of this Quinn red? Some more paper towel here. That's a little too dark. I'm going to pull some of that off. And I'm going to let that dry. In fact, I don't like this either. I'm going to pull that off. You can always pull off paint before it dries. That's got to be up higher. So I'll let that dry a little bit. I don't like that. I'm going to pull some of that off. There. Now let's go back to the ear. And I want to go in and get all of that into a light value, maybe a little bit of green in there. Butter. And I'll let that dry. Now, some warmth on the nose. Keep this paper over here. A little bit of that yellow-green. And some beautiful azo yellow right down there. And then I always like to have the tip of the nose nice reddish color.
I've been drinking too much.
Mine used to look that way all the time.
Like that.
Yeah.
Okay. That's his neck. Here's where his shirt goes into shade. So a little, brighten that up a little bit. And let's take some of that same phthalo and maybe a little bit of cobalt and put some behind his neck. Don't want it too warm. A little bit of yellow and green. Okay, I've got to get that lower lip. It's a little, he's got a fat lower lip. I don't like that. That's getting dirty. Periodically, you've got to clean off your palette because the colors start to mix too much, and you just don't. You'll lose the brightness of your colors. So that's better, but I want to soften this line. Here's where I can get into trouble. Yeah, that helps, but I don't like this, so let's take that off. And let's get some of that warmth in here. A little more red. You know, you make this as you go along. The painting kind of tells you what you need to do. I'm definitely doing a little bit of glazing. I don't always do that on my paintings, but I see I'm doing a little bit of glazing on this.
And the battery's dying.
Oh, you're running out of...
So you have to come back and finish it.
I'm almost done. And then this comes down like this. A little bit of blue. Okay, and I think I'm almost ready to stop. I'll come back to it later. Let's separate the lips a little bit more. So I'm done. I'm ready for the final touch-ups later.
The other nostril.
Oh yes, let me get the other nostril.
Is that really a nostril, or is it a shadow of a nose?
No, it's actually it's definitely a nostril.
Nice, huh?
And I want to get a little, there we go. There, I'll stop. Okay, so now what I'm going to do.
Should we walk through final touches?
Yeah, absolutely, come on over. I'm going to darken this a little bit. Nice warm red. Yeah, look at that. Look at that little bit of color. Let's put a little bit, make that a little bit deeper. There we go. Okay. So now I'm going around. Oh, I forgot the ear. I'm going to take some deeper color here. In fact, I'm going to go right to the phthalo blue. But then as the ear canal comes out into the light, we'll lighten it up. Oh. Got some butter. The phthalo keeps following it, doesn't it? But that's okay, because I'll take off with a thirsty brush. I'll take off and get a lighter value. There we go. Okay. Then I'm just going to take some red here, right here. Again, I'm just painting shapes there, and there's another shape right here, kind of a triangular shape, and then I'll take a little greenish, a little green and orange, and right here where the ear joins the side of the head, it's a little bit darker. Don't have to do much. And I'm going to bring the eye out just a little bit more. There we go. And then I'm going to soften that just with a wet brush. There. Now the only other thing, I think the last thing I'm going to do is a shadow that goes underneath the highlight of his lower lid. Right now I haven't brought that out yet. And I'm going to bring it out simply by contrasting values. And I'll use, I've already got green in there, so I'm going to continue to use that. So let's darken that. Then I just take a wet brush and come out a little like that. And I think that I'm done. I'm going to take I'm going to take a lot of some buttery red and just put a little, I feel like I need a little bit there, a little bit there,
Nice.
and maybe some down there. So you're literally painting in an opaque manner. You know, watercolor is a translucent medium. But for the final touch-up, sometimes I like to use opaque. Like, look, I'll take some opaque yellow. And that had a little red on it. Let's get more yellow. Although I like that. There we go. Look at that. And then the other thing I will do is I want to pull out some highlights on his hair. So I'm going to take a flat brush, like right here. There's one, and I'll do another one here. Different direction, you know, hair doesn't always... All the hair doesn't go in the same direction. This is going to come a little bit this way. So there's a highlight. And then I'm going to take my Conte crayon and do a little bit there. And then I'm going to take a little off of here, lighten this up a little bit, and you can do all this very easily with a flat brush. And then I want to darken it above the earlobe, just to bring out that earlobe a little more. Again, contrast builds up volume. Okay, and then I'm done. That's it, the finishing touches.
It's good to know, though.
Yeah, it is great. Yeah.
No, it is.
Yeah.
They are important.
Because they're like your feedback.
Yeah.
But maybe we could do it when we finish.
Yeah.
That was from yesterday's stuff.
I don't mind critiques.
Oh, you're using your automotive liner.
Yeah.
A nice liner. Oh, I have a liner though. It's another brush.
Let's really spike up this guy.
So is this your son?
No, this is one of my students. I don't have a son, I have a daughter. Her name is Amy. We named her Amy so nobody could shorten her name. So who's the first people to shorten her name?
You.
Yeah, Aim.
Aim.
Aim? So much for that idea.
You could just call her A.
Yeah, that too.
Hey,
Ooh.
A.
All dark value. All dark value. No, let's go from blue. I'm going to kind of go around the color wheel, so let's go to a violet now. You got that blue, so we'll transition to a violet. There's a good one. Leave a few highlights in there. And as we come out towards the sun, I'm still going to work in the cool rain, but it's going to be opera, maybe a little quin, whatever, red, crimson. And then, as we come further into the light, let's just get some pure opera, and then we'll mix the paint on the page, some yellow, and that's going to mix with the opera. We're going to get some
Fleshy.
some orange. Well, yeah, it could be, and it could also be fleshy in the face. Okay, so now we're going to go this way. Let's. Actually, I'm going to get a little bit more warmth in there, so I'm just going to take some butter. Boom, there. Oh, don't you love it, man?
You always paint
Yellow is
flat?
pushy.
I love to paint flat. I don't like painting at an angle because you see the subject and you see you're painting at an angle and it's distorted. Plus, I like to get down on the painting and move the brush around. I don't know, this kind of cramps me up. I haven't quite analyzed that, but it do cramp me up.
Okay, we definitely don't want you cramped.
So do you
No.
have 4 wells of the same color? A lot of
No,
times?
those are different. They look the same, but they're and don't ask me what colors. I have no idea. And you know what? I don't care.
I like
I know somebody said,
Just
you
as
need
long
to
as
clean
they
that
mix
palette.
well.
You don't know what you got. And I said, it don't matter.
It don't matter.
So what? If I see something I like, it's in there.
How about breaking this up with a little bit of brown?
I'm going to ask, it looks like a cerulean, but you've got that lighter blue. Because it's opaque.
It might be. And you know what Winsor Newton makes? A cerulean, I think they call it cerulean intense.
Oh.
Because I normally don't like cerulean. But that one is beautiful.
Yeah,
No.
Oh, that isn't cerulean?
I thought you said
Oh, that is, I think that is cerulean, yes.
I remember you said that.
Now I want to feather this with some lighter, just a little bit lighter. Okay. And he does have a little bit of a fade here. So I'm going to pull that down. Yeah, I'm going to pop in. I'm going to be bold and pop in some red here. And actually, it's not that bold because again, it's a cool red, which is right next to. It's an analogous color against the violet. Okay, and then a little bit of violet, and I think this is phthalo. Put a little bit dark, a few dark spots, and then there. Now we have a cast shadow. I think I'm going to get a little bit of red, and maybe a little bit of the this is cerulean. We'll soften up that edge. You know what? I'm going to let that dry. You see this? I should go in there and blend it. But let it dry. I still may do a curving shadow, but there's going to be, after that's dry, that's going to be part of it, and it's going to make it more interesting. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to let that dry, and it's time to move around to another area. So, of course, I love, love, love eyes. And I'm going to go in there. Then I'm going to stop. We're going to do this in bits and pieces because I'm going to have to stop to give myself a rest because I'm getting tired, and I'm going to be prone to making ugly, ugly mistakes. Let's get a little more of that. I got a little bit of violet and the cerulean. Do you know how to spell cerulean? U. It's that U.
We don't care.
It's really not that important.
It's one of my favorite colors. I love cerulean.
But now I'm going to add a little yellow, and we'll get some nice green in there just for interest.
I'm kind of crazy about that phthalo blue too.
That's nice.
Yeah, well, that one's not an easy one to spell.
P-H-T-H. Phthalo. P-H-T-H.
Yeah.
Are you cold?
Yeah.
Really?
I'm going to put
not
a
used
little
to
bit of
air
brown in here.
Is that what
Get
it
that a
means?
little deeper.
Really?
What? No. We were talking about she asked if I was cold.
Oh,
Watch this. I got some intense yellow there. I'm going to pick up some butter, and while this is still wet, I'm going to go bam. Just put that in. That just gives it a little interest.
Oh.
Okay, and I'm going to stop there. So now it's your turn.
Okay. Okay.
I'm going to put a cast shadow there. I think I'm going to put a warm cast shadow. So I'm going to take some like alizarin red. And this gives me an opportunity to move some of the reds. If you're going to have color in one spot, like I got the cool red here, cool red here, cool red here, a little bit here, and now I'm going to put a little bit here. And then I'll go into a little bit of violet. I will cool it down just a little bit underneath the nose. Gets lighter right underneath the nose. Then we'll bring that down. Bring it down. It's getting a little lighter, but it is stronger right here where the crease of the cheek is.
What's the brand of paintbrush that is?
And then it gets. Oh, this is a Skoda. It's a
Italian.
It's no, it's a Spanish.
Spanish, yeah, that's right. You're right.
An Escoda brush.
Ooh, there's some
They
nice
make all
orange.
different kinds.
And then to segue from that to more of my yellow, I'll put a little bit of yellow in there. Oh, that's nice and bright. I like that yellow. And let's calm it down, give it a little more of a fleshy tone. I got a few hard edges there. I think I'll let that dry. I'll come back to that later. Where else can I put a little bit of warmth? I think I'm going to do it right here. Not too hot. Okay, now I'm going to go into the mouth, the upper lip, and as we get towards the center, I'm going to warm it up a little right there. There. I'm going to have to let that dry. Then we've got this, well, we got the cast shadow, so I'm going to take some of my reddish violet. That goes down. There. And I'm just taking water now and just lightening that up. I can come back later and deepen that. And then this defines the outer edge of the lower lip, and as it comes further out into the light, I'll lighten it up just a little bit, then take a clean brush. There. I think I'll add just a little bit of tone right here. Let's pull some of that out a little. Okay, so I'll let that dry. You've got to be patient. Oh, let's take some of that same cool red that we used here. There, put it there. And then I'll add, you can see how I'm constantly dipping into different parts of my palette and pulling out color. This is a little too strong. I'm going to soften that. Okay. Now let's take a break from that, and I'm going to take some darker color and do this eye. And this is the upper part of the eyelid. Now there's some white of the eye here, but I'm going to ignore that. I'm going to squint. But I will do the crease in the upper eyelid. Gesundheit.
Thank you. Dankeschön.
There you go. We got a multiple language thing here happening.
Salud.
Then we've got his lower, below his lower lid, there's a little bit of warmth here. And then we're going to take some more yellow, bring that across. There. I need a bigger brush. I'm starting to get too small. This is slightly larger. Let's take some more of this cool alizarin-like color. I'm going to define his jawline just a bit more. How about some of that cool red also? A little bit right here. So I've got some red coming down like this. I'm trying to unify my colors. Let's do a little bit.
How about on the nose?
Oh, I'll be getting there, and I can hardly wait to do that nostril.
It's my least favorite.
It's a bold move.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just kind of have to do that. Mm-hmm. John's good at doing that. Mm-hmm. Okay, now let's get back to the nose. This comes around. Press down on the brush. Warm it up a little bit more with some yellow. Let's get back into the shadow. And let's go back with a little bit of that red again. And then a little bit of blue. I want to cool it down as I come out. Let's see. That eye's got to come down a little bit more like that. And there's just some eyelashes. Nope. Come on, come on. Let's get some paint on the brush. Just an indication of some eyelash. I want to get it darker there. There we go. That's better. And then this is still wet, so with a wet brush I'm going to pull it out. Get that shadow going down like that. Whoops, get rid of that. This is a little dirty, which is good. You don't want to have too many bright colors. I want a little more green. I'm going to take some yellow and just and I'm almost done. Just a little bit of phthalo. There we go. And I think the mouth is now dry. So I'm going to take some alizarin, a lot of alizarin, creamy alizarin, and some creamy ultramarine blue. So I've got a violet color. Yeah, it's dry, good. Whew.
Otherwise,
A little bit here in the corner. So see how that's starting to separate the lips. Oops. And then, but that upper lip is going to be, is blending with the shadow being cast across the lower lip. And I'm going to stop right there, so he's getting there. Okay, so I've worked a little more on this. I'm just going to finish it off. So I did this with a straw. It gives it a little texture. I go like this. In fact, let me show you, because I want to give this a little direction with the hair. And I love to do some splatters. So I go like a little, look at that one. And if there's a little too much, I'll just go in there with a paper towel and either make them light or take them off, but I do want to keep that subtle one. Okay, what else did I do with this? I darkened the neck a little. I popped in a little bit of hot yellow there. I popped in a little cerulean blue right there. I deepened where the side of the nose hits the cheek, because it's in there. So the only thing I got left to do, oh, and I added this color to bring out the edge of his face. So I started out with blue down here. I mixed a little yellow with that blue, got the green, cleaned my brush, got yellow, some yellow splatters, and then when all that was dry, I put in some orange. And I put in a little blue, and I got green there. And I even splattered a little bit of his face. Because if you look, you know, He's got texture on his face. He's got those,
Not that he wants it.
and most people do. You know, we're not pure porcelain, so I will periodically splatter a face, and you could do it with light splatters and some darker splatters. So now, again, following the shapes, and I'll take some of this red again, this same red that I used here, and I'm going to look at the shapes. So I'm going to go into his ear canal. It's dark here and here. I'll let that dry back a little. And then this part, there's a nice deep crease here. And when you're going, when I want a brush stroke to go in a certain direction, I'll point the brush in that direction and hold it like this. Otherwise, you're pushing it. Okay. I want to bring out the earlobe, so I'm going to take a little bit of black. I think this is a Payne's gray, and I did add a little Payne's gray here. A lot of people, a lot of artists will say, "Oh, you never use black." I do, because I do it judiciously. Get that word out. But I do it because it does really enhance your colors. Okay, and here I'm going to do it just to bring out that earlobe. So I'll put a little dark value above it, and I'll get a little dark value here, and take some of that red again. Okay, and then I'm taking a clear brush and I'm going to finish off this shape, but it gets a little lighter as it goes out here. And I think I'm going to add a little black into his ear canal. Thank you. Just let that flow in. Okay, and now, well, let's take a little more red. No, that's too dark. I got to follow the value pattern. I don't want this to get too dark. We got a little bit of...
Got a big glob of pure red on there.
I do, so I'm going to clean that off. I'm going to clean that off. So there is his ear. I'm going to take a little bit of yellow ochre. It's got a little bit of red on it. That's okay. And right here, add a little bit of value. And that's where his ear connects with the side of his face. Okay, now, the all-important, drum roll,
Nostrils.
nostril. And then just with a wet brush, and I don't want a lot of water.
Drag it down.
It's darkest at the nostril as it goes underneath the skin and up the nose, but as it comes out below, it gets a little lighter. And I know this sounds kind of picky-uni, but it's one of those things that make or break a portrait. Let's get that a little lighter. And then the last one is the other side. And I'm going to take a little bit of black again. Right, let's see, I want to get this right. Right there. I'm going to add a little bit of red. Ooh, that was a lot, wasn't it? There. Then I'm going to take a wet brush and just kiss that edge and pull some of this down and around underneath the nose, darken up that shadow just a little bit. And this is getting a little too dark. I want to make that subtle. The nostrils going out into the light, so it shouldn't be that much defined. And needs to have a little more shade. Open it up just a little bit. Oh, that I like that. Okay. And then the last thing I have to do, since it's complete, is I've got to sign it. And you want to develop a signature, because that's part of the artwork. So I'm going to do it right here. This is how I do my signature, Lobenberg. L-O-B-E-N. And I do it in all caps, E, but I change the size of the letters. And I'm done. You want to scan it a little.
Okay, get my camera.
California Vibe Portraiture Watercolor.
Take a picture of
It's a wrap!